Okay, so joining me on my daily walk, just trying to get away from the busy roads. It's Ascot week this week, so it's crazy. It's like wacky races out on the roads, people driving 60 and a 30 and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so whilst I get to the end of this quieter road, let's have a think about. Okay, I've been thinking a lot about grunge, you know, the 30 years ago plus music scene, which really affected me and where most of my favourite groups come from, really. And Nirvana has always been my go-to for grunge. There's a beautiful driveway there. I never know where that goes, but it's a big house. Always been my go-to. When I was in my 20s, just listened to them on constantly. And obviously, you know, them going so quickly was a bit of a shock, a big shock actually, when you're really getting into what they're producing. But I've been digging more into that era and listening to stuff like the Melvins and Tad and others. And you can really see the genesis of Nirvana there. The one band that I never really listened to much at the time, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but is Alice in Chains. So weirdly, I'm now in my 50s. I am heavily rotating Alice in Chains, and often it's said, I think I watched a Rick Beato video where he said that Alice in Chains was the sound of grunge. And if you listen to their first couple of albums, which obviously came out before Nevermind from Nirvana, it really is like that. Excellent singing, you know, amazing vocals, amazing lyrics, incredible musicianship. I know to a lot of people it just sounds like noise, but if you listen through that and you listen to the melodies, pretty amazing stuff. So Alice in Chains is one that I'm now almost putting on a level par with Nirvana. Maybe not from a melody perspective. I think Nirvana was still only second to the Beatles, maybe even the Police for melody. But yeah, amazing how I've kind of gone back and really discovered some stuff that I should have been listening to 30 years ago in a big way. The other one is, the interesting one is Stone Temple Pilots, who is a band that I did like at the time, and they got thrown into the kind of grunge bandwagon despite being a Californian outfit. I think probably because of the heavily distorted guitar sound and maybe the lyrical content, but again, a really interesting nuanced band, brilliant musicianship again, and one of those bands that would have existed had grunge not existed. So I feel it's a bit unfortunate for them that they got thrown into that sort of pool of grunge bands. Obviously Soundgarden and Pearl Jam are the other two that spring to mind. Soundgarden, Chris Cornell, probably the best vocalist I think I've heard. I know most people go Freddie Mercury, but I think Chris Cornell had a huge range and could really belt them out as well. So yeah, your four grunge bands: Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, not Stone Temple Pilots, Soundgarden, and then Stone Temple Pilots from California. A lot of listening to them, and still the Beatles. The Beatles for me, it's not even a band for me anymore. It's kind of it's part of me. I first listened to the Beatles when I was probably four or five. We had a, believe it or not, a tape reel track machine. There's lots of helicopters, sorry, it is Ascot. And I listened to A Hard Day's Night on that until the thing snapped. Not just the song, the album. And ever since then, just Beatles, you know, for 50 years, which is incredible, isn't it? And even now I still hear new things in their songs. We just can't work out why that is. But maybe it's because the music today is quite false, I think, a lot of it. Auto-tune in the late 90s just seems to have killed any vocal nuance. You know, everything now is pitch perfect. You can always tell that because when they actually do play live, they're not pitch perfect, they're the opposite. Just got to avoid being killed going across this road. So yeah, I think there's a problem there with modern music and me just not gelling. Makes me sound like an old fart, really. Okay, I'm on a busy road now. As you can hear, there goes another one. So I'm going to shut up now, but yeah, grunge. Go back to it, give it a listen.